Luis Bazan, Bridge Director, Pharr International Bridge.
Luis, we always like to catch up with you at the end of a Pharr Bridge Board meeting because the issue everyone wants to hear about is the expansion of the bridge, the second span.
Sure.
What's the latest news there?
Well, exciting news, as you heard today during the meeting presented on the engineering side by Maria Rangel, our Assistant City Engineer. You know, we've reached a major milestone in the project, that milestone being that now IBWC and their counterpart in Mexico have reached an agreement. They've signed the agreement. I think it's like a 250-page document or so. They've signed the agreement, so now it's basically, you know, on to the next steps. We still have the environmental assessment, the environmental to clear, but at the end of the day, that is a major milestone, because if you don't have that signature from both commissioners on both sides of the border, you cannot construct anything over that water boundary.
And any upcoming events, any sort of celebrations of these latest milestones?
Absolutely. So we're always looking for ways to highlight our accomplishments moving forward. You know, obviously under the city's guidance, we're constantly improving. We're constantly moving forward. So we want to celebrate with some type of a groundbreaking event, if permitted, obviously. We want to spread the news. We want to ensure that our customers are aware of all these advancements, of everything that's taking place, and all the great strides that we're making towards getting this bridge built in time.
Another subject I liked from your director's report, perhaps you could just give us a bit more information on your strategic plan, and you're working with UTRGV. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So a few years ago, the city collaborated with TMAC, which is the Texas Manufacturers Assistance Center out of UTRGV, and they put together the city strategic plan. So what we're doing now, based on that plan, we're included in that plan, but we're actually taking it a step further and designing and putting together our own strategic plan for the future. This is just the first step. Again, going in the right direction is the first step. We have some action items that we need to clear off the table first before we move forward. You know, identifying stakeholders, survey questions, things of that nature. Just the basic stuff, but it's going to be a few months. By the end of May of 2023, we should have our strategic plan in place.
Another topic you brought up, you were telling us how you've read the latest data and heard that the volume of business coming into the Long Beach seaport in California, that's on the decline to some extent, and you feel if you drill down a bit more that you can identify as a bridge new market share opportunities, and that's something you're aggressively working on.
Yes, sir. So every year for the past, even though our strategic plan is not fully written out, we've always had a plan. And our plan of attack has always been, obviously, you know, being part of the major associations, trade associations, being part of the corporations, meeting with potential customers, looking for ways to, again, increase our market share, bring in new products, you know, see if we can actually start a pilot program for new commodities, things of that nature. So yes, by reading that news, you know, it was an eye-opener that this is happening across the board. You know, Port of Long Beach has been doing great. You know, I think they went down, they declined by about 28 or 30% from one year to the next, January 2022 to January 2023. So that just kind of gives you an idea that there's shifts in customer behavior, shifts in trade routes, things of that nature. We've been talking about this for a long time. We've been talking about it since even before COVID, but I think with COVID, we got to see a little bit more of that. And even so here, more so with our Pharr Bridge board meetings, you know, we've been talking about these shifts in trade. You know, there's still a deficit of truck drivers, for example. There are still issues with the supply chain. There are certain things that we're not getting to market on time. But then again, you know, there's a lot of trade that is for the taking.
And so does your phone ring, and do you hear from people in the industry, the import-export business that confirm this, what we're all reading about, this nearshoring, you know, the supply chain disruptions you spoke about? You can sense that there's more business coming to North America from Asia?
Absolutely. So we've been talking about this also for several months. But yes, everywhere we go, whether it be in the U.S., whether it be in Mexico, I was at the Border Trade Advisory Committee meeting a few weeks ago in Austin, and we were in Mexico at the state of Tamaulipas with the governor's economic development team and their roadways team just a month ago or so. And everybody's pretty much speaking the same language. You know, there's issues across the board. There's many factors to consider. But yes, I mean, our job, again, is to ensure that we're looking at solutions. And part of the solution for us is not just building the necessary infrastructure, but also working alongside our federal partners on both sides of the border to ensure that our crossings are efficient and that we're not so much measuring, you know, wait times, but crossing times. Those are the ones that are more important.
Next topic, a summit you're working on, if you're ready to announce anything yet,
Yeah.
an industrial warehouse summit.
Yes, sir.
Think about that if you will.
So that's something that's been in the making for several months. I believe we started with this last summer of 2022. And, you know, we read a story somewhere that highlighted our region, highlighted the area that we live and work in, and the need for more industrial warehouse space, or just warehouse space, distribution center space. So we took it upon ourselves to start this. And on April the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if that's the correct date, I'll have to double check on that, we will kick off this summit, and it'll be a series. So we've invited bankers, we've invited a lot of folks that are involved in that sort of business, in that business, to see what we can offer to the trade, what we can offer as far as not just informational, but solutions for them. And as I mentioned today, we keep highlighting the word solutions, solutions, solutions. You know, we're working towards a better tomorrow, you know, through sustainability efforts and things of that nature. This is something that we need to develop now, develop the space that's necessary, but also taking into account, again, that there's more trade coming. And if there's a deficit, we need to take action and put our money where our mouth is and take action and get things done.
Mm-hmm. Next topic, the Texas Truckers Association.
Mm-hmm.
You want to establish a local motor carriers association.
Again, something that we've been looking at for several years, and it wasn't until last year when we visited the TXTA, Texas Trucking Association, here in Texas at their annual conference, that we sat down with some folks and they said, "Hey, there's a market there. There's an area there that we need to be more in tune with, that we need to tap into. There's a lot of mom and pop, companies that have been crossing through Pharr and other bridges for a long time. There's also the big corporations, the big trucking companies, for example, but they also want to target the smaller companies. So that's our time to make it happen here locally. Obviously, it'll represent the region, but at the end of the day, you know, we gotta stay on top of these things because it's important for us. It's important to capture market share, and at the end of the day, it's good for business overall.
Well, Luis, those are all the questions I had. Have I missed anything out? Is there anything else you want to tell the public?
Well, I think, you know, if you look at the city's logo, we're always talking about learning. We're always talking about continuous improvement, excellence every day. Again, I mentioned earlier that, you know, the sustainability platform, that is something that the city of Pharr has now taken over, or is taking over, right? There's 17 goals out there. We're already meeting about 11 of those 17 goals within a sustainability platform. So we're excited about that. Today we presented a school, the Vanguard Rembrandt Secondary School, and their professors, their principal, and this is their time, the students' time, to get in there to the bridge offices, or even with some of our surrounding services, some of our customers, for example, and come up with a project, you know, that has an issue that you can resolve it by offering a solution that's going to pave the way for tomorrow, for a better tomorrow.
Yeah, that was fascinating to hear.
Yes,
Vanguard.
absolutely.
Yeah, Vanguard.
So we're excited about that as well.
Project. Well, Luis, thank you so much for today's interview. We always learn so much when we meet up with you.
Thank you as always, Steve. We appreciate it.